Hi everyone. So I wanted to give you guys a bit of a look at the basics of the mechanics in Nightmare Dicebound, or whatever we're going to end up calling it. Um, so I'm using Tabletop Simulator. We generally paper prototype everything that we do. This is actually a really old version of the prototype that we built. James is currently working on a much newer version. We're generally kind of developing the tabletop version at the same time as the video game version, with some slight differences, but otherwise most of the mechanics are the same. So, where to start? Well, obviously, some of the topics we've been sharing in the Discord over the last couple of weeks are to do with dice mechanics. So, let me start there. So, in our game, you have a number of different types of dice. You have your stamina dice, which are here, and then you have core attribute dice. Stamina dice, we're still testing, but you either start with 4 or 6 of these. And at the beginning of a round, so our gameplay is round based, these are pre rolled. So let's roll them like this. Um, Core attribute dice, however, are only rolled when you use them. And as you progress in the game, you'll be able to get up to 5 dice, going from D4s to D12s. This might change, obviously, as we continue to test. One thing to consider in our game is that we have dice and then we have dice slots. It's the same with the core attributes. There are dice and then there are dice slots. This is really important to understand because as you complete rounds, we have omens that trigger. This is the escalating horror system that kind of keeps you on your toes as you're progressing. And the omens can cause different effects. These include effects on the environment, which I'll explain in a second. Effects to dice, like curses on dice, which maybe reduce their effectiveness or cause damage when used, or can affect slots. And when they affect slots, these are often pretty nasty in the sense that they cause propagation effects to other dice connected to that slot. Up here you have your health and you have your sanity. Pretty self-explanatory. And typically we go room by room. So in this scenario, you start on the docks, and there are a couple of interactive items, and there might be hidden items as well. In our game, all actions cost stamina dice. So, for instance, if I want to move, I spend some dice in order to move my character. If I want to interact with an object, I use a stamina dice to interact with that object, and I can then combine the value of that stamina dice with a given core attribute dice, depending on the type of skill test that I'm doing. So, for instance, the barrel has 2 different skill tests. One is to pry it open, and the other one is to investigate or decipher a strange symbol on the barrel. In order to actually interact with the barrel, though, I have to move my character. So the first thing I'm going to do is spend one of my stamina dice to move my character. Now, we're still working out the movement system. Right now, we're allowing players to move up to 12 spaces per round, though this will probably be reduced, and then you'll be able to upgrade your movement amount by, say, upgrading your agility. But for now, let's say you can move up to 12 spaces. So right now, if I use my 3 dice, I won't be able to make it to the barrel. I need to be standing perpendicular to it. So I'm going to spend my 5 dice, and I'm going to move 1, 2, 3 movements here. Oops. In order to interact with the barrel. The additional 2 that I haven't spent, unfortunately, are sacrificed. But now I'm going to interact with the barrel. So, as I said, there are 2 skill tests here. I don't know if I've actually put them on this version of the board. I might have to bring up my skill tests. But essentially, the brawn skill test, and there'll be a lot of narrative as you're interacting with this thing. I'm just not going to speak it now because it will be too slow. We'll do a proper playthrough at some point. Really, this video is just to explain the basic mechanics. So the skill test for this is 1d4 plus 4 to pry open. Or I believe the investigate the strange symbol skill test is 1d4 plus 2. So annoyingly, all of my my dice are pretty low. My remaining ones. So I'm gonna try to pry it open using a 3. And this is a blind skill test, so I won't know what the actual value or the strength of the barrel is until I've spent my dice. And I'm going to spend my brawn die as well to try to increase that value. So let's roll that. So I have a total of 6. So the barrel's value for the skill test, what did I say? It was 1d4 plus 4. So we're going to roll a d4. Oof, 3 plus 4 is 7. So I failed this test. And in the case of the barrel here, it's if I fail the test, I actually take 1 damage because I put strain on my wrists. So let's do -1 to the health. My last 2 dice, they're not really very useful. I could spend them to just move a bit more, or I could stay here until the next round. I think I'll stay here for the next round. So at this point, the omen level increases by 1, and we trigger a tier 0 omen. Oops. Oh, tier 1 here, but it's actually a tier 0. So the tier 0 omen this time is the sound of a distant foghorn and creaking boats from the dock, haunting echoes through the fog. So this one doesn't do anything nasty, it's just a narrative omen, which is nice. As you can probably guess, the more time you spend, the worse the omens get. And at tier 1, they start to kind of do like basic things to your dice. At tier 2, it starts to get more nasty. At tier 3, it starts to spawn enemies in the world. And at tier 4, you're pretty buggered, to put it bluntly. So part of the experience is to obviously explore and complete the objectives for the scenario before things get a bit too hectic, a bit too dangerous. I think I'm going to stop the video here because this is really just the very, very basics I just wanted to share with you. But hopefully this creates a little bit of discussion around these first few little elements that you can see working in the game. I'll do another video in the near future and we'll take it a bit further into this scenario. Anyway, thanks. Bye.